Lights, camera, action. Let's dive in deep. Talking directors, actors, the secrets they keep. From behind the scenes to the silver screen. Hard-hitting questions, nothing in between. We're rated B, rated the podcast sensation. Unveiling truth, sparking conversations. Where every story gets its chance to shine. We're rated B, rated, let's rewind.
Welcome to the berated B-rated, berated B-rated. What do you do with the opening? Let's see if we can do it.
Oh, yeah. We just say, welcome to berated, B-rated. Well, actually, we don't even say anything on the conversations. We just say, hey, thank you for joining us. This is Brian and Anthony and then he introduces you guys.
Oh, okay.
But for our movies ones, yeah, we berated, B-rated, where B-rated or B word isn't a bad thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
B-rated, B-rated, B-rated.
No, berated.
Okay. Berated.
B-rated. They're going to come in hot for us, Anthony. They're going to come in for us. Yeah.
All right.
Hi, this is Anthony and Brian, and welcome to the Berated B-rated podcast. We're here tonight with Dana Berger and Max Woertendyke and Dane Elcar. And how's it going tonight?
Damn, I think I'm just going to quit right now, guys.
Wow.
Man, that was right off the hip, too.
I wasn't sure what was going on.
He's not even the one who's supposed to remember lines, you know? It's
Damn.
And I have no idea what I'm doing.
We just ended now.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's this was really really fun, really trippy movie. It was awesome. It was pretty out there. I like the out there stuff.
Great. Yeah.
So
introduce the movie.
What's that?
What movie is it?
Oh, we are doing Brightwood.
Wait, I'm sorry. We have officially started.
Is this it?
We've officially started. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, great.
I did actually started. I didn't mean to. We could go back.
Okay.
No, dude. That was perfect.
Great.
All right.
That's the most original and opening we've had so far. So,
well, that's I like that too. Brightwood.
Yeah. So, like, what was kind of the inspiration for this? Because this is pretty, it seems like there's a lot of like themes and inspiration behind this, like a lot of symbology.
Yeah, there was two really main things. One of them was looking back on it now, one of them was this kind of insane desire to actually make a feature film and to see it through to the end. And I think Max shared that desire with me. And we had been working on another project, and the pandemic kind of stalled that project. And so I took some time off, and I had actually made a short film called The Pond, which in essence was kind of like an experiment to see if the basic elements and plot elements of, being stuck going around in circles around a pond would work, and if I could make it interesting and entertaining. However, that short was just actually one person in a pond. I played it. It was super low budget, and I always wanted it to be a couple. I always knew that if I took a couple and kind of threw them into this insanity, then it would be, given the nature of going around in circles, being stuck, trapped, that it would be really interesting to kind of see how they navigate that and how that could allow me to kind of really dissect a relationship and go into a toxic relationship, and using that kind of the metaphors within a toxic relationship, and making that a real situation that this couple finds themselves in.
Who had a toxic relationship in that movie? Sorry.
If you watch the movie Brightwood and you think these people remind me of me, you might want to consider therapy, or just really keep your eyes closed and just go with the flow. Because once you open your eyes to the reality, it's be tough. Anthony said, the film does, I think, try to get pretty far out there. One of the things when Dane and I were talking, when Dane shared the first draft of the script, so I had seen the short, obviously. He filmed the short in 2018, and it's a great little film. And so when this other project fell apart, Dane was like, hey, what if we did this one? And he shared that first draft of Brightwood with me then. And one of the things that we talked about so much from the beginning was like, how can we take this to its farthest conclusion? How can we push this idea and the ideas of these characters and how they interact and see what happens if we really push it as far as possible? And I think that was one of the driving forces of the film. I'll never forget, there's one scene in which Dan and Jen, so I played Dan in the movie, Dana plays Jen, and we were on set and something kind of crazy happens and we were flipping out. As actors, we were acting very, extreme high emotions, and both Dana and I were like, what the fuck is this? This is too big. This is not good. And we went to Dane and we were like, Dane, like, do you really, like, is what we're doing okay? This feels very large and kind of extreme. And he said one of the best notes I've ever gotten from a director, which was like, given what you've just done, to pretend that you're calm or anything, that the way you're behaving should not be extreme, completely belies the reality of the experience that you as characters are having. And so I think we tried to like push it as far as possible, but to keep it grounded in some kind of, character reality as the plot sort of continues.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say, sorry, Dana was going to say something.
No, that's exactly right. I guess I kind of went into the description of the film, but so those were the main reasons. It was a desire to make a film, and then I had this itching, idea that just would allow even on a practical level, just because I knew I could keep the story contained. I knew because it was being filmed, we were still kind of in COVID at that time, that I could use a limited crew.
We were very much in COVID at that time.
Yes, we were May 2021. Yeah. So any person that came on, we had to test 3 times a week. We had to, we had zones that we had to be in, but really we all stayed in a house up in Rockaway, New Jersey, and kind of like zoned together, if that makes sense. And then, then we would go to location, but just the practicality of the story and the location and the single location was something I knew I could do and see it through to the end and actually make the feature film.
For the listeners, the movie takes place entirely around a pond in the woods. I don't know if people that are listening to this have seen the film yet, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of our questions was, where did you actually record it? I know you just said you were in New Jersey, but like watching it, like there's just seeing that dirty ass pond. Like there's some places in Colorado
that we got into.
Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. Not to spoil it.
Yeah.
Dana, I'm pretty sure Dana in it. Or Jen, yeah.
That's true. Okay. That was the little thing.
The whole time, like that was one of like
how gory, how gruesome, how TMI can we get on this?
Oh, I think they're open to anything.
Yeah, as much as you want.
Yeah. I just mean, like, we filmed in the woods for 2 weeks. Now, just think about, like, it's not like we had trailers with bathrooms and stuff.
Yeah. Dana just revealed a BTS video of me apparently peeing on a tree that I was apparently looking at my phone for much of the time until I realized at the very end.
At your phone. I remember this. You were holding your so the characters have cell phones in this movie, and we had prop cell phones, and Max was fucking peeing and holding his prop cell phone up like. And I was above his head and moving it around, and I was like,
I was practicing looking for a signal, you know?
Yes,
that's pretty official, though.
And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I was trying to look like I wasn't peeing. If anybody saw me.
Damn it! One hand, you really good job, man.
Yeah, that's right. I committed, you know. Well, this is one of the the fun things about the 3 of us living in a house together, and Dane and I have known each other for a long time. We met working in one of the last video stores here in New York City. And so Dane, yes, Dane and I have known each other for a long time. Dana and I have known each other for a slightly less long time. But, there's this amazing thing that, between a director and his actors, there's this obviously a very intimate and exciting relationship on set. And then we would have it again when we'd go back to the house, so we spent truly almost every waking moment with one another while we were shooting. And honestly, it was one of the funnest times of my adult life.
Yeah. It was a bit like, there was a little bit of a camp vibe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Time to trek out into the woods, then go back to the lake house. It was like a lake house that we had rented.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow.
it was
Yeah.
fun.
You were saying those dirty ponds there in
Oh, yeah, the
Colorado
dirty ponds.
too. So was it in New Jersey then where you filmed it?
It was in New Jersey. It was a place called. Now I have to be careful about how I talk about this because it was a very nice place. It was a place called Egbert Lake in Rockaway, New Jersey. However, the reason it looks kind of nasty the way it looks is that it was incredibly overgrown in the water. So like in the water is just straight up weeds.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was Colorado.
Yeah. So I even think that they were going to try to like sludge it out or something, but or I'd heard that. Yeah, it certainly didn't look that great up close. Wasn't that great? Yeah.
I will say I was so jealous that they were going to get into the water the whole shoot until the day they got into the water, and then I thought, yeah, you know what? It's fine being out.
No,
I've actually never. I don't think I've ever told. I might have told Max this, but I don't think I ever told Dana this. The water was fine. However, I don't actually like getting into water where I can't see the bottom of it. It's like weird. So like I had to put on my big boy director, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in the water. It's fine. And so like I got in, and like I literally my insides were like, oh god, as I'm walking out, and then I'm turning around to Dana, being like, it's fine, Dana. No, this is gonna be so nice.
I did not know that.
I know.
Good fucking thing you didn't, because I don't know, I'm a girl, and not to get all like gendery or whatever, but like that pond was gross. It was gross, and nobody knew what was in it. We didn't know how deep it was.
No, Dana, come in. The water's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, and it was
So nice.
like it was so
Great.
disturbing, and they had been working me up, for weeks, being like, okay, and then this is the day that you're gonna get in the pond, and it's gonna be great, and we're gonna have towels and all this stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, cool, and
So
There were nice moments. The temperature wasn't that bad.
it actually ended up
fun.
being way better than I
Yeah.
had imagined it was going to be.
Yeah.
It wasn't very deep. I mean, we could stand for a
Yeah.
lot of it.
so was that sign real then or no?
No, I made the sign.
Oh my God! See, that's why I
Wow.
thought it was Colorado, because when my brother lived in Brighton, and so there'd
Okay.
be ponds everywhere, and you're just like, "Damn, that's nice!" Like there's like a lake of water, a pond of water. Someone do that. There's big ass signs where it's like, "No swimming." I'm like,
Yeah.
so what? It's just like,
There's a
in front
few of
people's
those in Jersey
faces?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wait,
that's
Dana, had there been a sign there in the short when you shot at a different park?
No,
Was there-
so I shot at a different pond, the short film, and there wasn't a. It's funny. I don't know why this is, but there was not a no. There was no swimming sign. Then I shot the short, and I got into the water. And then like a month later, there was a no swimming sign. And so I would go back to this pond, and then there was this very official looking no swimming sign that ended up making it into the story of the feature.
God. Did you go get tested
Wow.
for anything?
Jane got Lyme's disease. Did you
I
get
did
Lyme's
get Lyme's disease. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good God.
But not from the water. Those are from because we just happened to be in some sort of tick haven in New Jersey.
In the water.
No Giardia.
And thank God I was the only one. We did tick checks every night. We were so careful, but there were so many bugs around. And I didn't get we actually made it through the entire shoot. No one had any ticks, and then I went out for some B-roll. And there's some footage actually in the film where the camera's being pushed through the bushes, and you can kind of, the leaves are like on the lens, and that's where one got me, and I just missed it, the son of a bitch. So
Can you say where it was?
oh yeah, it was like on my side.
Oh, okay.
But it was a deer
Right
tick.
where, like, it was like under here where
No, no, but it was a deer tick. They're so small, you know. And then I did I found the site that you like send the tick out. You like put in a little baggie and send it out, and they'll test it. And so that it came back positive with Lyme disease a couple of days later, and I had just developed the stereotypical rash. So then I went on antibiotics, and I should be fine. I don't want to make light of it. It is a horrible disease if untreated, but I did the things. I got on the antibiotics, and I should be okay.
See, that's
So
good.
I do get to say my movie gave me Lyme. So.
You had a great line making the movie.
Ba-dum-bum.
We always with all the movies, there's like the PSAs and everything. So there's your PSA for our
Yeah.
right.
Lyme disease, children. Be
Don't-
sure to get tested. if you
yourself.
have a tick, send it off and test it.
Man, no, I figured that one of the what do you call it? One of the PSAs was this one. Like I've seen it before, where it's like my biggest fear is like marrying into a family like likes to wake up at like 7 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning and run a marathon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much you pulled away where it's like, just don't ever go jogging with your significant other, and then there's nothing bad could ever happen. Like both of you guys, just I don't know, stay on the couch, hang out,
Stay away from it. Yeah.
don't.
That was
exercise.
actually that was an early comment when we had just started showing the film slowly out to folks and get their reaction. Somebody did come back like, we're never gonna go jogging. It's a great.
Let's be honest, that was someone who clearly was never going to go jogging anyways.
No.
That's
There was that time you like took off sprinting, and then you're just like, oh
Which
shit.
one?
There was a couple
in the
times.
movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to speak for themselves, but yeah, I mean, part of the prep for this movie, we not only would work on the script and do a lot of readings, but like we all like started. I know that I was jogging and exercising, and I think Dana was going on bike rides and walking, and we all like knew we were going to have to literally be running around in circles for 12 days. So it was a huge physical feat to get it done, because the movie, if you actually look at it, there's only a few times the camera's actually still. We are moving all the time, nonstop.
When Dane was giving us a hard time, Dane and I would run a little bit faster because Dane was also his own camera operator for a lot of the Steadicam stuff. And, if we were like, sometimes we felt like we needed to make Dane work for it. And, and Dana and I would just run a little bit faster. There was
he was running, carrying all that heavy equipment to follow us.
a funny story. Dana was like, early on, Dana would prep for these panting scenes, because we're running and we stop and the character's often a little winded or a little tired. Dan in particular is quite winded. Jen is not so much, but Dana would do a sort of little warm up. And there was a time. Go ahead. Yeah.
The reason why I would warm up is because I wanted my face to look flushed and sweaty and like I had been running. Like I think there's a way people look when they've been running and they're panting and they're working out. And so like, me being like the actor that I was, I really wanted it to look that way. So take it from here, Max.
So on an early take of this first day, our first day we shot mostly the scenes at the no swimming sign. So we would, because we shot sort of location by location around the pond. So we would, run into scenes, stop and do our scenes there. And after the first couple of takes, our sound guy was like, pulled Dane over, I think, and was like, hey, I just hear her heartbeat under everything.
Yeah, all we could hear was her heartbeat.
Because her heartbeat was genuinely beating too hard. And we had to be like, Dana, like, just take it down a notch so that we can actually get your clean dialogue,
Yeah.
it's funny.
No, that's awesome. Do you know how big? Oh, sorry. How big that loop actually was?
I don't think it was a full mile. Yeah, it was a little less than a mile.
Just to keep,
Maybe maybe more like a half a mile.
That sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Half a mile?
I think if you go around it twice, you're about at a mile. I actually went out and jogged it a few times just to get a sense of the space when we were way before we started filming. I think it was that. It was something around a half a mile.
All right. Well, just we know, we've seen the film, great film, but just so we can put into perspective of, how many miles was actually ran and everything, just based off of the,
I wish we had that data. We should actually,
Yeah.
when we're done, we shouldn't do it now because it'll be very boring for people to listen to. But
Just
we
go-
should actually try to think about how many miles
How
you
many
actually had to
steps.
run, Dane.
Too bad we
That's
weren't
pretty funny.
we weren't clocking our steps.
I was
Yeah.
about to say, just pull your phone out and it has your steps for you.
And also, I mean, that locations. So when Dane and I were searching, because I was a producer on the film as well. So when Dane and I were searching for locations, Dane spent hours on Google Earth looking for ponds with a sort of island kind of thing in the middle. Because anyone who's seen the film knows there's a part where Jen's character leaves the sort of outer trail and goes to this other part of the sort of little piece of land somewhere elsewhere in the pond. And so we would spend hours looking at these, satellite pictures to try and find these things. And then we would go and drive to them and see, what they felt like. And that location was much larger than the one that was originally used for the short film.
I should mention that the reason I couldn't use the same pond is that the neighborhood that the original pond was in, which I love, by the way, was way too expensive. When I tried to get it, they just dropped a huge number. So
Wow.
I hustled to actually find anything that could work because we had an already set date at that time.
Yeah.
And so, I would spend nights just going over Google Maps, trying to find any kind of body of water.
When we got, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. When I first went there and I first saw it, it was covered in snow. So it was the middle of winter still. So I had to kind of make this big guess that I think this will work. I think this is going to be the right thing, but I didn't actually get to even see. I mean, technically we shot in May. So the leaves weren't really fully grown almost until we started shooting. So I did not see the pond in all of its green foliage until we were almost about ready to actually shoot because it was just growing back, which proved to be pretty good in terms of lighting because the light from the light could still go through the canopies. I think if we had waited a couple of weeks, it would have been very dark inside there. You needed a lot more light. So
we also ended up having to cut large swaths of that circle around. I mean, in the real pond, obviously there's a large parking lot. And, I mean, one of the things I think that Dane did so lovely in the edit as well was, figured out how to create this path with these very particular and specific markers around it, hopefully, so that people can sort of track where they are in the loop. But that loop is in the film does not actually resemble at all what the loop in the real park looks like, just because it was literally just too big. And there were people there. We didn't have exclusive use of the park, so we had fishermen and we had people coming out for jogs and romantic walks and kids on ATVs and a whole slew of people that every day we sort of had to be like, oh my God. I mean, Dane chased after kids on ATVs a couple times. We put up signs like, you may not know it, but you're walking onto the set of indie horror film, but to us, the scariest thing is, background noise. So please try to keep it down. At a certain point, we sort of made semi-friends with some of these kids on ATVs, and we're basically like, hey, can you tell your friends also to help us out and not ride by at deafening volumes? And it was cool because at a certain point they would sometimes come and gather and watch the shooting, but actually after we talked to them, they were super cool. And the whole town really, everyone in Rockaway that we interacted with was really nice and supported the film. And we got invited to go have, lunch at the Hibernia Diner. And it was really cool. It was a cool little community. I think they were psyched to have us there. And
they were really excited that we were filming a horror film. Their eyes would kind of light up. And
There had been one other film there, Dane. What was it called? Shot like 15, 20 years ago.
I
Called
don't
Red,
remember.
The Red
Yeah, but
Massacre.
it was one of those things where like everybody knew of this one horror
Oh,
film that was
yeah.
shot in that
What was it,
location.
like Red Autumn or
I
something?
don't.
No.
It was
Red
Red
River,
something.
Red
It was-
Pond.
It was Red something, and they were all like, "Oh, have you seen Red, whatever it was?" And you're like, "No," and they were like, "All right, well, I hope yours turns out well."
Yeah, so that's a funny thing too. We've also spoke to other directors and producers, and they say that some of the like most messed up things is when you are recording, having to tell everybody around you, like, "Hey, it's going to be like the middle of the night. We're going to be screaming, 'Help! I'm being murdered!' and everything, but please don't call the police."
Right.
So, I'm not going to spoiler it, but I could just imagine that last scene where whatever, and then somebody walking by and being like, "What the hell?" Like,
Oh no, we were constantly thinking about that. In fact, Max and I really went over the schedule, and I think we did some of the stuff that anytime we were really loud. I can't remember if we would do it in the morning or afternoon, but we were trying to do it at a time where there'd be as few people around
Right.
as possible. That we were trying to like take that into consideration as we were filming, because yes, we did not want suddenly there'd be a bunch of cops coming around, and there are a lot of scenes in the film where they're yelling and like, oh no,
I mean, I think it's okay to say, like, in the last third of the film, Dana is sort of covered in blood and running around running around, and we were very cognizant of the fact that, like, if Dana ran by screaming, and there was a couple
Covered in
jogging,
Yeah.
covered in blood, and there was a couple jogging, and they weren't clued into what we were doing at all. I mean, it sounds funny, but actually it could have proven to be dangerous for Dana and for anyone else. What's up, dude? And and I think like we tried to engage with and like chat with as many people in the community as possible, so that way the word got around, to try to avoid those kind of dangerous misunderstandings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you need is just a couple of like dudes cutting weight, and all of a sudden Dana come running by, and then you chasing her, and then now you're out of the film because
that's right. That's right. You're like, well, this isn't the ending we expected because Dan's truly dead.
Yeah.
There was one day we lost half a day once because I did injure myself. It was my own fault though, and I moved my head a little too much and got quite a bad cut across my forehead. We had to stop and had to like glue it together. And if you watch the film very, very carefully, you can in fact see when we came back the next day. I had to have like a little butterfly kind of Band-Aid up there. To keep my head from being open.
No, it was the same. It was the same day. We shot the same day. We continued. You had bonked your head.
Oh, and then we went to Ulta that night. Dana and I went to Ulta.
What I did was I just said we're gonna just go do the scene, but we'll do it close up. There's a moment where you do see the Band-Aid, but it's like, and I won't tell you where. But we just shot this whole scene. Close on his face.
What's
but
great is those close-ups look great too. I always really love that emotional part of the movie. Yeah. What's happening between the characters, I think, is like it's a very heightened emotional. Yeah, it's a heightened emotional moment. I think it works quite well, actually.
What we did is we just skipped over the medium shots and went straight to the extreme close-ups. It's fine,
every time there's a close-up, it's because he had a butterfly bandage on his forehead. That's right. Yeah. That's awesome.
This is how we do it.
That's awesome. Like, all right, Anthony, I cut you off like 4 times.
No, you're good. You're good. One of the strengths to me for this movie is because I've seen like a few time loop movies by this point, and some of them it's like they try to keep like the time loop is like the mystery until the end of the movie, and it's like by the time you get to like the 80th minute, people like you just feel like yelling at the TV, like you're in a time loop. Right. Treating this like a time loop. Like I like with this movie that you don't do that, and you kind of like let that out of the bag early and get on to a deeper story.
Interesting. Yeah, I felt like I always do like time loop movies. I always do think that there's elements to them that are kind of that are kind of funny, and I felt like I could use, or at least like I felt like there were areas to use the humor and make it kind of dark humor. But I also knew that part of the exploration into this relationship was going to be the idea that they knew that they're getting the game a little bit more as things progress, and they were going to be in this situation, and for longer, for a longer period of time.
Yeah, hopefully that's not too much to say.
No, not at all.
I just thought that was like a strong point of this, that it's kind of like you treat the audience like they know something.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you took that away. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, my other kind of big question with this was, the marriage relationship does seem very like authentic. Like it does come off like there is like two people that are, like the opposite of hate is love kind of thing. It's
Right.
like there was love, but now we're kind of at the, like, everybody's on their side of the battleground and nobody wants to,
It's because they go jogging every day.
Like,
What made you feel like it was authentic? Like what aspects of it?
like it's so, like, there were moments where it felt like a couple fight, like you're arguing over like the dumbest thing that you can think of, like, why did you leave the cheese out, like, kind of level arguments. And then there's like the stuff that's like, this is the reason why our marriage is failing, like,
Yeah.
so there's the different levels of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is just, I've been in a relationship for a very long time. You have I was writing this in the middle of obviously in the middle of the pandemic. At the time, we had a 3-year-old. It's like, I'm not going to say we reached levels where we wanted to kill each other, but there are these ups and downs that happen in a relationship, and the longer you're in a relationship with somebody and you kind of reflect back, you do start to kind of see these kind of arguments that can happen that do start out sometimes really small, but then it can progress to this, or something really small will bring back, some argument that was a much bigger issue in your relationship. And what I did with the film is that I just like took that to an 11. You know what I mean? I took any kind of experience that I was having or experience that I had. It's about relationships, but it's also, and I knew that I needed to kind of focus in on this married couple, because it would allow me to go through these stages. However, in terms of the types of you could just have as much a relationship with a family member, that's kind of going around in circles of this, going in and out of love and hate, or trying to make it work and then it doesn't work. So taking that and just pushing it all to the max with Dan and Jen stuck in this situation.
Like, there were multiple times when you're like, all right, Dan, you're good, I'm on your side. And then there's multiple times you're just like, Dan, dude. Like, damn, man. And then the same thing with the wife as well. Like, there's sometimes it's like, all right, calm down, And then there's sometimes you're just like, yeah, F that dude. Like, I'm with you. Like, you keep switching sides back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
That's
And
great.
That's right. That's great. Yeah.
Did you find them, I'm curious, did you find them likable, or like were you rooting for them, or did you feel like you were more just like watching two people experience something, but you weren't emotionally invested in them succeeding?
I mean, I thought that, without giving anything away, I thought that Jen was going to lose her shit first and go off. Like, I thought that, I thought that after they found that other person and there was that first murder, I thought that Jen would have been like, holy shit, and then love doing it and would have just continued to do it, because she even said, remember, like, I dream of stabbing you in the throat. And you're just like, yeah, that's what my wife says to me every night before we go to bed. Like, what the hell, And so we thought that, but then there was that part where Dan, like, after he kind of saw what was going on, how he's like, you know what, like, I do love you still. and this, but then, you know, he started acting like a jerk again, and you're just like, dude, like no matter how many chances you get, you're gonna keep blowing it, man.
I think like we spent a lot of time like thinking about this idea. Well, first this idea of like you're in a relationship and you fall into these patterns, and they're so easy to just stick to them and keep at them. And in a way, what happens, I think, in the film and to the characters is, in a way, they really have to like sort of kill off an old version of themselves to evolve in the relationship together. They need to find a way to sort of like end that pattern, and that requires a like kind of full destruction of what the pattern they've been in. I always used to joke like, I don't think that I would want to date either Dan or Jen, but it was so important to me as both an actor and as a producer in the film that it felt like they deserved each other in some way.
I think we talked a lot about the fact that whether they're particularly likable or not, it does go in these cycles, and that they're gonna get kind of what they deserve out of the relationship in some way. That was a big discussion that we would have.
Yeah, like we said, like there's times where you like one and hate the other, and then there's ones where you like the other and hate the other.
Sure.
So you kept switching teams and switching sides and everything. So it was good.
Great. Yeah.
The question, hopefully it's not too a spoiler. The only question like I kind of had, and like I'm pretty sure, like I mean, maybe I'm just overthought. Like there's that garbage can.
Yeah.
Like
the garbage can.
Can you say anything of that, or wait till we're done recording?
No. It actually has a very practical reason, and then it has a kind of a bit of a red herring thing going on. But I will explain the trash can. The trash can, first and foremost, acts as a marker. Mm-hmm. I needed these markers and placeholders in the script so that you knew, as these characters were going around in circles, that you knew the area, so that you could say, okay, there's a trash can, so they're going this way around the pond. Mm-hmm. So that was very important. There were elements in the original script that kind of hinted that something deeper might be going on to that, but it didn't particularly jive well once we got it all together. But I always thought of the trash can as being just this kind of rotting, strange symbol of just this garbage that's collected in a way,
all right,
and that it's just this like goo that you can interpret it however you want in some ways, but that it's like the garbage that's like at one point in this time warp or whatever, paradox, there might have been real trash in there, but it's now just congealed into this like thing.
Yeah, like there was like an ear, one of the ear pods was in there. And is there like, that's but okay. Yeah. I was just like, I kept trying to look at it like closer to see if there was like, something in there, like a body.
There's something, if you look close enough. Yeah. You got to find the right spot. There's some.
I think also, like the color of the film. The color of the film changes. The palette of the film changes slowly but surely over time too. And I think to what Dane's saying is like, I think one of the ideas, at least, was that as they continue around this loop, as they find themselves sort of like deeper and deeper,
it's getting darker, right?
Yeah, deeper levels. Yeah, okay. That like.
Well, it's not getting darker so much as it's getting
oranger, really
yellower. It's things start to seem a little bit dirtier.
Right, that there's like sort of this collection, this residue of sort of whether it's metaphorical, like toxic emotional baggage that's being sort of left behind, garbage that's being left behind, or whether it's literally just like the literal idea of if you walk around a pond however many times, you're gonna make trash. So those earbuds that fall, every time they fall, there's like a piece of garbage that's left behind. So I think that was sort of part of that as well.
And also just in terms of like, what Dane was talking about, how we had to have markers that signified where we were on the loop. Like, most movies are filmed out of sequence, but in a movie that is really filmed around a loop and the scenes, there's so much repetitive imagery and sort of almost repetitive things happening. it was so important for us as a team to so specifically track like the timeline and the plot, so that, you know, when we were jumping around in a non-linear way filming, we were like, okay, what's happened? This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. And I think that even when you film a movie out of sequence, when it's not about like a loop around a pond over and over and over, it's still easier than honestly, I think what we did. I don't know if you guys would agree, but it was very confusing a lot of the time.
Yeah, we had timelines and we had different, you know, different characters and different versions and different things, and it did get we needed to keep everybody on the same, you know, in the same scene.
We also had so little time. You know, we were moving so quickly, and we had to be able to, you know, we didn't have time to warm up into things. You know, so like when we would show up on set, we would jump right in, and you know, and I think that was like also part of all of that, sort of being on the same page and having the same understanding of the script, having the same understanding of the story of the characters, so that by the time we got to set, you know, we could just go. And that was, I think, you know, we spent a lot of time in the development of the script and in a rehearsal process. It was all through Zoom at that time, you know, but we would meet and we would read the script, talk through the scenes. Dana and I would get together, and, you know, so that by the time we got there, we were like, great, I know what happens in the beginning of this film, the middle of the film, and the end of the film. So that it was easier, because it was necessary, to be able to say, okay, which time frame am I in? Which, you know, what's my experience that me as a character has just had right before and right after? And, you know, how can we drop right into that in a way that feels like authentic and exciting and real?
Yeah, I mean, and just to add to that, the prep of this was really, really important. We knew that it was, you know, 12 days out of 16 days in the woods, all outside, you know, all that, we only had the sun. So we had that time frame, and I knew it was going to be difficult, just being outside. There was going to be possibly a lot of different issues. So it was just a really great decision early on that we would do these Zoom rehearsals. It was such an important process in the script because we were really able to distill it down. I would listen to them talking, then I would listen to them read the script, then we would talk about it, then I would go do a rewrite, and we did that a number of times, so that really we were just so on the same page by the time we were actually shooting that it was, you know, just go.
I mean, just to give you an idea, also, like our schedule, Dane and I spent many hours before we got out there literally scheduling lens changes. You know, I mean, because we wanted to be that efficient. Now, of course, you get out to shoot, and Dane's got to make a lot of decisions on the fly, and, you know, like at that point it becomes an improv, and Dane gets to be like a maestro, like, you know, saying like, great, actually we need to do this or we need to do that. But, you know, in terms of the prep, we felt that, you know, the best way for us to ensure success as best as we could was to have like a real tight fucking plan going into it. And I think that it's like, in a way, what was so great about that is that we were so prepared in that way, both as a production team and as a performance and actor-director team, that it gave us the freedom to be looser when we got there, to like live in the moment, to experience what this scene might be, because we already trusted each other. So we could get into that first take and be like, this is what we discussed. Let's get that take that we know we need. Let's get it, and then let's see what happens. And that was like a really fun and I think cool way. And I think there's scenes, you could probably speak to this, Dane, where that, you know, the scene that ended up in the film is not necessarily the way that we had talked about it, or we had imagined it, or you had imagined it. That, you know, but there's something about the way it just organically happened, either the way it was shot or the way the performances were, that you were like, oh, great, this is the story.
Yeah, I mean, from you know, the director's side of it, I think we went in initially saying, okay, we're going to have 3 or 4 takes tops. All right, that's it. And then we got to go on to 3. But we actually, because we planned so much, there was we actually discovered we were going faster than we thought we would. And so it was basically like, okay, hey, let's slow down and let's do 3 or 4, 5 more takes, and let's see what we can get, just so that I just have those choices in the edit. To be able to make multiple versions of each scene and things like that. So it ended up being really good that we planned out that much.
In some ways, Max and I both have done a lot of theater, and that's actually how we know each other. We met doing a play together in New York City quite a few years ago. And I think that in some ways, the way that we rehearsed this was the way, in the sense, like rehearsing a play. Like we would read through the whole script many times, like the way you rehearse a play, and that doesn't always happen when you work on movies. And so we had rehearsed it so much like a full piece that when we got on set, all of that rehearsal work was there and we could just drop in. And that is very, I don't never realized that until right this moment, Max, but that is very much like theater based. You know what I mean?
When I think it's like, especially because there's all these time loops and because we're sort of jumping around within them, it's easy to get lost. And so I think about like carrying the experience, the memory of the whole story from start to finish was like very helpful and very useful in that way.
So, as horror guys and genre guys, how did you like was the blood sufficient? Was everything okay? Did it come off all right?
Yeah,
Were you a little creeped out by the ending?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like it's kind of like there's like two kinds of gore that kind of like are sufficient for me. It's like if you get a lot of gore and it's like spread out all over and it's like you can't find a place without, like, I love that. But when this one you get like the moments and they're like big moments and it's like shocking and it's like, for me, that works just as well. That's
definitely that's good to hear. That's definitely what we were going for, because I know, I mean, I like those types of gory films too. It can go crazy, but in this, we were really kind of, I knew that I was only going to have these like few moments, and it was like, how can we get the best out of those?
They were twisted.
Yeah.
The night before we shot the sort of bloodiest scene, we realized that we were a little low on the supplies we needed to make blood. And like we were in a small place.
I will say this is how much of a nerd I always have fake blood on hand, like for the last 25 years of my life, somewhere in my house. I'm just that kind of guy. But but like, I was thinking of this, just thinking of the scene, and I was like, oh no, Max, I don't think we have enough blood. What are we gonna do?
And we're like in the country in New Jersey. It's not like there's like a Halloween store down the block that you can go to. And so literally,
I sent you out, right, to like go get a bunch of.
I went to like Walmart or whatever it was, and they closed at like 11:30, and it was like 10:45. And I went in there and was like, give me all the corn syrup and red dye you have.
Red and green dye,
which was which was worth it.
So I made like 4 or 5 gallons of fake blood just that night, trying to stir it up and everything. So.
Fun fact, Dane did all the special effects on this movie.
Wow.
All the props, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
This was like a 3-man band here. Wow.
Yeah.
Or a 3-person band.
Well, one of the things that I got into, horror, I was special effects makeup. I love that stuff. I'm at a level I can do certain things, but like, I knew, again, given that we were shooting in COVID, that I was going to just have to dig into some of this stuff and do that as well. So I'm happy it came off the way it did.
Yeah, it definitely.
I remember testing some like tubes and blood spray, and my daughter in the house, and my daughter's looking at me like, "Are you okay?"
Well, this is amazing. So Dane's daughter, I think, also got to sit on his lap for quite a bit of the editing process.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. She can recite half the film, which is not good.
Scarred for life.
Well, yeah, it's like what was it? We were watching. I think it was like the first episode of The Last of Us. It was like, this isn't too bad. We can watch this. My son's walking around and he's got his phone. he's not paying attention. And there's a part where like Bella Ramsey's like, "Listen, motherfucker," and then like it's like, oh my god. And then like all of a sudden like he just looks up and he's like, "Motherfucker," and it's just
Yeah. Oh no, and then no. I made that mistake with probably from this edit way too young because I've gotten the emails from the school. You know, I'm already there, man. Like your kid, she's saying like some bad language and stuff, and I have to be like, oh god, no. I'm just that. You know, where is she learning this? I don't know. Where could she possibly be learning these words? My God, YouTube. Turn off the YouTube.
YouTube TV is the devil.
It's blamed on you, man. Like my son started singing this stupid song, and he just does it because of auto tune. And so one of the little kids narked him out and said he said a bad word, and he didn't say a bad word. He said the word stripper.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this
Really?
punk ass bitch kids. So, anyways, he's 8 years old,
Sex
and
work
so
is real work.
exactly. So the teacher calls or texts me. It's like, just so you know, Kane said the word stripper today. I said, just so you know, no, he didn't, because he has never heard that word at my house. And she's like, well, he said you let him listen to this song. I said, well, another thing, I hate that artist, and I think that song is the shittiest song ever made. I said, so that song has never been played at my house. I was like, so don't come at me saying that I have a bad choice of music and that my son is doing this. I was like, why don't you ask his little friends at school where he heard that bullshit song? Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what I'm most offended about is thinking that you think that I would let my son listen to this song because this is a terrible recording artist.
Exactly. That song was made, Jesus, probably in like 98, maybe. And it was like at like the like top of when everybody used auto tune.
Right.
Yeah. And so he was saying, like, I don't even, like I said, I don't even think they play that song on the radio. So I don't know how he heard that song, but I 100% guarantee he didn't. And then he did the whole joke of like D's nuts to like people. And I was like, dude. And so I talked to the principal. I was like, it's just me, my wife, and my son. I was like, do you think I'm just like, hold on, Kane, watch this. Hey, babe, can you get D's? You know? And then I was like, yeah, son, good job, bro. I was like, you really fucking think that I talk about D's nuts and strippers in front of my fucking 8-year-old at my house? I'm like, dude, he's in 3rd grade. He's hearing one of his friends or somebody at school doing it, you know? And they're just like, well, it's not good. I was like, I understand, but at the same time, don't come at me all hot saying, Brian, quit saying D's nuts and strippers in front of your kid at your house. Like, I don't know when the hell I would ever say any of those words in front of my son at my house. Like,
it's funny
what the
because he's
hell?
standing right behind you right now.
I know, right? No, we've always said, we're like, dude, if our son curses at school, we'll be like, how'd he say it though? Was it like
what was the meaning behind it? Like, oh yeah.
If he's just walking and like, you know, it's like, oh, fuck bag. He'd be like, why'd you say that? He's like, I don't know. I'd be like, well, now you're in trouble. But if he goes and he says a curse word and we're just like, why'd you say it? He's like, well, this is the reason. We'll be like, okay, that's a good reason, but don't say it anymore. You know? Yeah. But
The adventures in parenting.
dude.
Oh yeah.
So messed up, but it's so much worse. Yeah, he said a bad word, and instead of just saying that, you know, he heard it on a song or something, over the summer we watched all of the Marvel movies in order, and he decided to tell the teacher the reason why he said a bad word is because it's the movies his dad watches. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, so I've never heard.
Throw you right under the bus. Yeah.
Exactly. And so he told me on that, and I was like, then we're not going to watch any more Marvel movies. He's like, that's not where I learned it from. I was like, that's where you told the teacher. And so then he told the teacher like months later that I listen to this shitty music. So all I do is listen to fucked up songs and movies that have F-bombs in them all the time. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Stuff you get blamed for, dude. But, I think. What do you got, Anthony?
Do you want to go to the hard hitting questions?
The two hard
Oh, we
hitting.
got some hard-hitting ones?
There might be a
Alright,
third hard hitting one.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's hit hard.
Oh, hard in the paint. You know they don't really say that in Australia.
Hard in the paint?
Like playing basketball. Like, dude, go hard in the paint.
They play
Oh,
basketball in Australia?
Yeah,
No.
right. They don't have squirrels. I know that. But so, nah, Anthony, you can go that first one. I'll ask the other one. Maybe the other two.
Okay, so well, we're always adding movies to our list
Oh,
of
you
things to
cheated.
watch,
That's
and
the one I was going to ask.
well, I thought that was the first one.
No, you know damn well that's the second one.
Not bad. But like we're always adding movies, and if you have any suggestions of like horror films that we should add to our list, because we primarily stick indie, but
Yeah.
we venture out here and there for everyone, of course.
Like smaller indie films
And it could be smaller indie, could be, I mean,
that we've seen pretty recently, or just films that we like.
that you like.
Suggestions.
Yeah, just any suggestions you got for us?
You know, I will say, like, this is maybe for your other podcast, but I like, and I don't know, maybe you've watched it recently, but I just recently rewatched the original Wicker Man, which I remembered actually, which is like it's a musical, which you don't really realize until you watch it again. I was like, this has more songs than Oliver has. So that was a quite enjoyable rewatch and unexpected for me. I can't say the same for 80 for Brady. What can I say?
I can't even get my wife to watch that. So
I recently watched, the last thing I watched was part of Panic Fix, actually, which I think was The Artifice Girl, which I thought was pretty good. I don't know if you've seen that film yet.
no,
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Megalomaniac too, which I saw up at Fantasia last summer and has been making the rounds.
I have
Which I
not
thought was,
seen
like,
that, but I do
really
want to see it.
very dark, very, very dark, but beautifully shot. It's like a Caravaggio painting, you know. It's like really, but I think it's quite good. And talk about some of the desire for some like truly comprehensive
Nasty
splatter.
gore.
Yeah, it's a dark film though. It's not campy in the least, and it's dark, but it's good.
Yeah.
All right. And what about you, Dana?
I have a confession. I don't watch a lot of horror movies, really, because I'm a big fucking scaredy cat.
It's cool.
And like,
It's cool, Dana. It's
no,
cool.
I mean, like, I still have never seen E.T. in its entirety because
The famous horror movie E.T.
Right?
it's a horror movie to me.
It's just 90 minutes of probing.
Because that little fucking thing is scary as hell and creepy.
It's true. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, I
fine.
see
So we
that.
talked to who was it, Eric Mensis from Horror in the High Desert, and he admitted to us, he's like, I don't watch horror movies, and he just like filmed some stuff for a horror movie because his friend was a director and told him, he's like, I want you to be in my movie. Like that was it.
We talked to the guys from Feed Me, and they suggested Mrs. Doubtfire.
I mean, there is that great re-edit of the trailer with the different soundtrack that like does in fact make it look exactly like a very like a horror trailer. It's awesome.
Those are so amazing. Have you seen the Forrest Gump one?
No.
Holy shit!
remember, but
watch that.
Okay,
Do you remember
will.
Do you remember the trailer that? So this is going to be interesting. The trailer that came out years ago that was The Shining, that was recut to be like a fun family movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember that trailer? So they use. I could be totally wrong here, but from my, I remember one of the jobs that Max and I had at the video store that we worked at is we would speak to these companies and they would want all of this footage to go over. And I think one of the companies actually was that someone that was cutting that trailer to do something off to
Do
the side.
something funny.
Yeah, he knew something like that was going to come, and then when it happened, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, watch the Force one where it's like, it's
I
so
literally
messed
just
up.
pulled it up. Is what I'll be doing as soon as we're done.
there's a couple of them, where like somehow they make them where it's like, I almost had about 16 Dr. Peppers. And you're just like, how are you going to make that scene scary? Like, oh no, you're going to piss yourself. Dude. Yeah, those are hilarious, man. All right, then. I mean, we kind of talked about it. Oh, what?
These are two more hard hitting ones.
No, I don't know. You guys might. We kind of talked a little bit before we started recording
Okay.
about. Are you guys working on anything that you can tell us without, spoiling it too much or something like that?
Yeah. Dane, you
Yeah,
wanna go ahead, or
I'll
go ahead?
just start. I'm sure. Yes, we have another film, another feature film that the script is ready. I mean, we can't talk too much about it, but Max Woertendyke right here is producing it, and we have some other team members that are coming on board, and they're packaging it up. And yeah, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean we're still in early days, but I think it's a great script. Dane wrote a great script. I think it's like a very exciting, scary adventure. And I've just brought on another producer. We're starting to talk about some casting, and with the hopes of shooting at the end of this year. Don't hold us to it. We'll see what happens. But I'm super excited to be. This will be Dane's sophomore feature. I'm just giving myself a small bloody cameo in this one, so I won't be an actor in this because there's not the right part.
But I'll get to kill him again, which isn't.
Yeah, but you'll get to kill me again. I think it's a great story, and I'm really excited for it to get made. I think it's going to be awesome. And Dana and I are waiting for someone to cast us in a story about incestuous cannibal twins, which we just think would be super fucking fun to do. So if anyone listening out there has that script, and the financing, call us.
If there's a part 2 where they just go to couples therapy, then that's it.
That's right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't jog and just get a therapist. Come on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't jog to the therapist, because then that just cancels each other out, and you're right there at the beginning of where you were.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am. No. And then let's
Dana,
see.
do you have anything going on? You're doing some great.
I'm just auditioning right now.
Yeah.
You guys should know, though, Dana does have like a number of amazing characters that if you follow her yes, come on, don't make that face, Dana. If you follow her on any of her socials, Dana does like incredible. I mean, Dana's one of the funniest women I know and one of the smartest women I know, hands down.
Why did you qualify it with women?
Okay, you're one of the.
God,
You're one of the smartest, most interesting people I know.
I'm kidding.
Dun, dun, dun.
I take it all back. But she's very, very good and very funny, and someone should in fact take the characters that she already has and put them and pay her to do them much more often.
Oh,
Look, do you want to shout those out real quick?
Dana, do it.
Do your plugs.
My social.
Yeah,
your phone number. Anything.
Yeah, my phone number. No, I mean, I'm on Instagram, dana.merrill.berger, and TikTok is Dana Merrill Berger too.
And that's Meryl within YL.
Yeah, as in Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Okay.
At Dana Merrill Berger, and then at Dana dot.
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm dana.merrill.berger.
All right. What about Max?
Oh, I mean, you can follow me. Like, my Instagram is just like what I like to think of like pictures that demonstrate like weird little glitches in the Matrix. So it's like that's all it is. But it's at Woertendyke. It's the my last name on Insta.
Nice.
I don't know what I think. I'm just at Dane Elcar. I think it's just that I don't have any dots. So
You're able to get them.
But okay. So what you really want to do, though, listeners out there, is you want to go to Brightwood at Brightwood movie.
Oh God.
I think, right? Is that it? No, it's at Brightwood movie, and that's where you'll get all the latest. We're also on TikTok.
Wait, what do you mean at Brightwood movie? Where, Dane?
Oh, on Instagram.
Okay.
And TikTok and Twitter.
Clearly, you know what we're doing, guys.
I'm teaching him how to do this. I'm teaching him how to, publicize.
Dana is teaching me how to TikTok, and my life now is just all TikTok.
Do you have a class that's going? Because we really need help with that. That's like the only one that we don't post on. We're just like, damn it! I thought this can link up by itself.
I won't do it, but I will say Dana told Dane what to do for the first video, and he did get 11,000 views in like the first couple hours. So whatever she says is actually right.
All right.
Yeah.
You know why, Dana? Because you're the most talented woman I know who knows about TikTok.
All right. Now these ones might not. Do any of you guys? Are you guys gamers? Are you like, no, we're adults?
I don't know.
No.
anything
The
about
last
that.
thing I owned was a PlayStation 3, and I think about going back to play Vice City quite a bit, but that I think dates me as in a terrible way.
Nope. That's all you had to say was a PlayStation.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
All right
Yeah.
then. No, I think that was it. You know.
Brightwood
this
is
has been-
screening at Salem Horror.
Oh yes,
Festival
yes. We should
on
plug our actual
Hey,
film.
so
And-
yes, yeah, let me say the dates.
Okay. Yeah. Go
It's
for it.
playing at Salem Horror Film Festival on Sunday, the 23rd, April 23rd, at 2:15 p.m. at Cinema Salem. So if you're in the neighborhood, you should definitely come check it out. There are tickets still available. They can be bought online, or you can come. All three of us are going to be there. So definitely, if you happen to be in the area, come say hello and say what's up.
It's awesome.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's
And
the
the movie
awkward.
will come out later online streaming.
Well,
right?
it'll be released in basically all platforms at the end of the summer by Cinephobia releasing here in the U.S. So we don't have an exact date yet, but we'd love to keep you posted when we do.
Awesome.
Good job, Max. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, this has been really fun.
If anyone can stand us talking for an hour and 10 minutes, they'll finally know where to watch the film in Salem if they make it.
Now, if you guys shoot us over the email as well when we do post it, we'll just throw that in the description.
Oh, fantastic! Absolutely will.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
think we'll probably end up cutting out like the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can do that, of course. Duh.
Sure.
Yeah, I got the time in my head where I got to start it.
Right. But no, I think that's all I've got so far. So
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
no, damn it. All right.
I missed my camera. There we are.
There you go.
but
It's been a swell time talking to you
yeah.
on B-rated B movies.
Or this is,
B-rated B. Oh, no.
Berated.
Berated.
B-rated
It's a schwa.
conversation.
Yeah. Berated B-rated. Berated B-rated movies podcast.
Oh,
Well, this is our.
thank you.
We should clarify. This is our conversations podcast. This is our.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Never
you're
mind.
good. Yeah.
Let's go back.
Berated, B-rated conversations.
Ooh.
Thank you for talking to the Conversations podcast with Anthony and Brian.
Oh, thank you guys. Super awesome.
Thank you very
Yeah, it's
much.
been a lot of fun. Thank you.
All right.
Between. Rated B, rated.